and welcome to Soulful. All right. Hello again, and welcome back. My name is Drew, and this is Soulful. And I am a little bit under the weather, and a whole lot of funky in this moment. But since I promised I would bring all of me to this experience and really try to be as authentic as possible, this is what you're getting. And I have some feelings about that already. Yeah. Which, I think most of us like to present more of our highlight reel than our bloopers and behind the scenes, or more of our high points than our low points. But yeah, that's not accurate. It's not realistic. We all surf the waves and have our ebbs and flows. And so I'm here sharing with you from one of my ebbs or flows or or lows. Yeah, I never know which one's which, the ebb or the flow. But anywho. Yeah, I'm a little under the weather, but on the mend. I'm recovering from spending 3 nights last weekend dancing my butt off in a field with 40,000 plus other knuckleheads. Yeah, I was at the Phish-festival, and yeah, man, turns out staying up till 2 a.m. every night and sleeping on air mattresses is is not something my 43-year-old body handles as well anymore. And I also think I came home with a little bit of the wook flu, as they call it. Yeah, I caught something in the crowd there. But it's not COVID, which is awesome. And I tested a couple times just to be sure. And it's crazy now. Yeah. Getting sick. There's this huge fear that comes with the first feelings of getting a cold or getting sick, that it could be COVID. And yeah, it was interesting to notice. But I tested a couple times. It's not COVID. Some kind of flu, some kind of bug. And yeah, I'm definitely on the upswing from that, which is nice. But I'm also, like I said, a little funky and a little bit of a funk. Yeah. And I know some of it has to do with being sick and not feeling good, because I suffer from the man flu as bad as anybody else. Yeah, when I'm physically sick or physically in pain, really, either of those. Yeah, physical discomfort quickly gets me into some weird and sour places. And so I'm glad I have that awareness to be able to navigate some of this funkiness that's around and visiting without making any decisions or impulsive actions that I might regret later. Yeah, man. When I'm uncomfortable, relief becomes very sexy. And then And then all of a sudden, some rather bizarre or different thought processes sneak their way into consideration. And I'm super grateful for all the years of recovery to have had practice observing where the thoughts will go and how they may take me to ugly places quickly if I believe a couple of them in a row. Yeah, my earned wisdom is serving me well in this moment as I'm surfing some waves of, just low, funky energy. Also, I've been in a little bit of a waiting pattern for a couple weeks now, which I don't do well with waiting. Yeah, I'm not naturally patient. And so I think that's definitely part of what's spinning up, or the mud that's currently up. And there's also judgment coming in right now too, as I'm sharing honestly. Yeah. It's wild. Because I know that sharing honestly is the antidote for a lot of the funkiness. And getting honest can help pull me out of some of the BS and the stories and the mud that I get stuck in. But the mud, it fights back. Yeah. And for me, it's a lot of like doubt and critical, judgmental thoughts. Yeah. And there's also a lot of like woe is me kind of pity party stuff that shows up when I'm in this kind of space. And so just trying to practice what I preach. Be gentle with myself. Be present and aware. And feel some feels. And not necessarily, jump into relief-seeking behaviors in ways that will create some headaches later. But it's hard. And there's definitely some like some impulsive relief seeking, that wants to like break through. Like just buying a ticket to the other side of the world, or there's like seeking a rescue or seeking some sort of Hail Mary play, or a desire for that. Yeah. Like in this moment, feeling the way I feel. Yeah, the clouds sneak in, blocks a lot of the sunlight out, and then there's this desire for one big thing to happen that'll save me or rescue me or change things. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe that'll happen, but it's like banking on a lottery ticket while not going to work. Like, that might not be a good life strategy. Yeah, sitting here feeling funky, not doing anything really to take care of myself while I hope for some miraculous rescue to manifest. Yeah, it feels like that's more of a good way to sink further into the mud. But it's a thing I do. Yeah, my meditation practice is crap lately too. I think, at least a couple days in a row now I haven't sat. Which then allows the thoughts to multiply. Allows the gremlins to multiply. And I noticed even sitting down to record the podcast episode here, I took a couple deep breaths And yeah, and felt even a little peace just in those few breaths. And it was a reminder, like, yeah, like maybe you should meditate, bro. Because it is a lot easier for me to get funky when I'm not taking the time to slow things down and focus. So hopefully this episode is a cool combination of reminders for myself and yourself, or for whoever. And also, yeah, like, we all struggle. We all get stuck in the mud sometimes. And that's nothing to be, like, hidden. I mean, sure, I don't I don't think I would be like the most popular guy at the party right now if I showed up with this energy. But hiding it, stuffing it, pretending that it doesn't happen, yeah, that's also a disservice to myself. And yeah, and one of the judgments that shows up is that if I'm honest like this, if I really share about some of the lows or the mud or the melancholy that I experience, that it will push people away, or people can't handle it, or people will judge me harshly. And I've definitely had experiences like that in my life. But hiding, burying, suppressing parts of myself, yeah, that feels way worse, and has had more yeah, like, obvious negative consequences in my life. So to me, it becomes kind of a decision as far as whether I would like to bury, suppress, and hide huge parts of myself, or stuff emotions and deal with the really ugly consequences that come with that, or get honest, feel weird, maybe make some other people feel weird, or maybe not, but find a little bit more peace, a little bit more relief in just sharing honestly, right? Really bearing my soul, bearing myself. And yeah, and if it means that I don't get invited to a party, or, you know, somebody takes a step backwards because they can't hang with my range of feeling or my depth of experience, yeah, that stinks, but I'd rather that than the consequences that come from being inauthentic and stuffing and hiding and all the crap that creates. Because I don't want anybody to, like, feel sad or feel bad about life or for me or in any way. Right? My my codependency turns on pretty strong when someone else isn't feeling good. And so I definitely don't want to be the source of someone else not feeling good. But yeah, I'm sharing and seeing that there's a little bit of a jump in logic there. There's a little bit of a leap that isn't necessarily correct. There's an assumption that I'm responsible for other people's feelings, or that I'm somehow creating their experience. Yeah. And while that feels true a lot of the times, in this moment, I can recognize that as, yeah, that's a leap. That's not necessarily accurate. We all impact each other, but feeling responsible for other people's feelings to the degree that I then don't express myself honestly and don't honor myself, yeah, that's a torture rack that yeah, that I know personally and have lived in for years, maybe decades. And so jumping on here and sharing honestly about feeling funky and letting it be okay that this might not be everybody else's favorite episode. Yeah, this is cool. It's a good practice. Yeah, it feels like a little bit of a win in a cool way. So, here I am. Funky, under the weather, feeling bad for myself, swirling in doubt, lots of judgmental, critical thoughts, hoping and praying for a rescue while I sink further into the mud and don't take the small steps, that keep me on a good path. And having the awareness and the compassion for myself. Yeah, to not judge too harshly this funkiness and how I'm showing up. Right? Because judgment is just more mud. Yeah. And that's something a lot of times when I'm working with folks, that's like the first intervention, or that's the first movement in a cool direction, is to recognize the judgment and then don't judge the judgment. Right? Like, a lot of us judge a lot in different ways. And then we judge ourselves for judging. And that just keeps a kind of a vicious loop moving. But if we can become aware and recognize judgment in the moment, or if we can see it in our experience and then not judge that, a lot of times that's the first step out of that loop that we get stuck in. And so, again, practicing what I preach. Recognizing where I'm at. Recognizing some of the ways that I'm contributing to staying funky. Yeah. And granting myself a little bit of grace. A little bit of compassion. Which is hard to do. Because some of us think that we need to double down on the tough love, or double down on the, like, tie your boots up and kick ass and take names. Right? It's a much harder, tougher approach. And I mean, sometimes that could be, really helpful. Just kind of muscle up and rock and roll. But I feel like, sometimes we miss the opportunity to be more compassionate, more loving with ourselves in the moments when we want to push harder or beat ourselves up or, toughen up. And I don't know what the answer is for you. And the answer probably will change moment to moment. But I think it's a cool contemplation, potentially, if we find ourselves in a moment where we feel like we need to double down on pushing through or fighting through or muscling up. Yeah, just reflecting for a moment and seeing if maybe a little bit of grace and a little bit of compassion is the spice for that particular dish. Because it's nice to have both a soft approach and a hard approach. Right? It's nice to have multiple options in any given situation, or multiple tools, that we can put to use. Yeah, so feeling funky, witnessing it, noticing it, not judging it too much, having some grace and space and compassion for what my experience is in this moment, sharing about it honestly. And I can already feel a little bit more, a little more space, a little more softness opening up within me. Which is cool. And that self-pity thing, man, yeah, it's vicious. And in the recovery scene, it's understood that self-pity can be fatal quickly. We start feeling bad for ourselves. Yeah, we start into the poor me, and then it becomes pour me a drink. So, I'm aware, feeling bad for myself. you know. Well, honestly, it doesn't even really feel good in the moment anymore. It used to. There used to be a little bit of a, like the tiny violins playing. And I like that music. But these days, yeah, as soon as the woe is me energy, there's self-pity kind of comes online, it's more of a warning sign of like, oh, bro, where you at? What are you doing for yourself? And what should you be doing for yourself? Yeah. So there's been some of that energy online. And I'm glad I shared about, some of the internal resistance that's coming up or was coming up related to sharing honestly about not feeling great. Because that's definitely something big that still shows up in my system. Not wanting to, like make bad impressions or have people see me in ways that aren't going to make them feel good or aren't going to make me feel good about who I think I am. And I'm not sure really if there's anything else I want to share about or that's present right now. Because I've also learned that when I'm feeling funky, if I try to make sense of stuff or come up with plans on how to do things to not feel funky, everything's tainted with this really, like fear, negative, judgment flavor, or like film. And really, sometimes when I share honestly with folks, like if I'm feeling funky and I start to share, it can become almost like like more of a vomit. It's just like vitriol and disappointment and bitterness and resentment, and it actually doesn't help. Like I actually feel worse sometimes. And so I can relate with folks who say that sharing honestly doesn't always help. Yeah. Sometimes, man, when I'm in a mood, I just need to like go in timeout. Like just go sit in a corner for a little bit, take some deep breaths, maybe tune into the body, feel some feelings, and let whatever it is that's moving through me like move through. Because talking about it, it almost just gets me like more fired up. And I'm not feeling that in this moment, which is cool. But that's definitely been the case a bunch in the past. Different times I'll start I'll start sharing about something and then all of a sudden I've assassinated all of the characters. Right. I've talked shit on anybody that I've ever spent 2 minutes with, and also on the state of the world, and also on the future, and Yeah, and I feel 30 times worse than when I began. And as I'm sitting here reflecting, yeah, I'm not sure I can tell you when that happens or why that happens or why it goes one way or the other. But I usually can get a feel for it pretty early in the share. Like here, sharing right now with y'all, this feels more constructive. Yeah, there's a reflection and there's honesty and I'm in touch with some stuff. But sometimes, yeah, sometimes I just start spitting like lava, and just start pulling apart anything and everything in a really negative, not helpful way. And I'm grateful today that I can kind of like feel that coming and then can, like I said, go put myself in timeout. But that has not always been the case. And when I get going like that, sometimes I can like watch people like check out and and start to walk away or run away. Yeah. She's like, "Whoa, bro. Like you got some stuff. Like maybe you should take that somewhere else." Cuz sometimes it's just easier to project the funk and the pain and the anger and the bitterness and the disappointment. It's easier to project it outward than to own it and recognize the part I play in creating it or continuing it. Yeah. This life thing is a trip. And yeah, not one that's always super fun. And then when I get funky like this too, sometimes there's there's like exit strategies that become more prominent in the thought processes. Yeah. Usually the first thought is like it would be nice to like not exist or not have to deal with this or not wake up tomorrow morning. And it's got like a comfort to it too. Like, oh, cool. Like there can be an option that doesn't include continuing to suffer. But the truth is, yeah, everything's temporary. So, like, this suffering is going to pass. And the key is to not make any permanent decisions when I'm in a temporary space. And I'm grateful for having learned that from some much darker, heavier spots in my life previously. Yeah. There have been quite a few times when I would have much rather not existed. And there were a lot of thoughts and even some potential courses of action that were circulating. Yeah. Yeah, I guess maybe there's some judgment there, but not too much anymore. Yeah, being a sensitive being, trying to live authentically according to my heart and my intuition. Yeah, man, like that's going to get banged around a lot in a world like this where most folks are in a rush and out of touch and yeah, doing anything and everything they can to feel better and and not feel anything else. And so in this kind of chaotic frenzy, it's easy to get banged up enough to want to quit or want to take an early exit. So I get it. But I remember, yeah, there was one depressive spell towards the end of active addiction that got real dark. And still there was this kind of like, just this knowing, like, hey, like, don't bail early. Like, it sucks now, it's better later. Like, just some kind of like understanding that I had to move through the shit that was currently happening, or that the shit that was currently happening, it was like totally necessary and made possible something cooler later. And again, that's me articulating it in this moment. There was no words for it then. There was just kind of like like, don't cash in your ticket early. Like, don't miss out on what's next kind of energy. And so, I endured and suffered more until I didn't. And I guess there's a little bit of, I don't know if this is sour thinking or this is accurate, or, I mean, they're just thoughts, so they're only as true as I believe them to be, right? But yeah, just this narrative about how the world is lost and filled with a lot of people that forgot that they are life, filled with a lot of folks that are lost and scared and angry and hurting, and that this experience can be less than fun if you're sensitive to a lot of that. And I guess there's a thin line there between honoring what we're feeling and then beginning to like feel bad for ourselves or feed a kind of victim mentality. Yeah. Because I definitely identify as sensitive, right? Feeling a lot in me, around me, in the people around me. And there's times here on Earth when, it's like not fun to be on Earth. And, but like, where does that thought process take me? Right? Like, it's true, but if I keep believing it, like, where does it go? And if it doesn't go somewhere cool, then I don't know. Then why do I keep going there? Yeah. Because we have the ability to pause for a moment, recognize the thought process or the thought stream that's flowing, and then decide to move with that, or we can observe and notice and let it go and kind of come back to the body or the breath or whatever helps anchor us in more of a presence rather than the narrative. We can do that. It's a skill. We got to practice it, and then it becomes stronger and more natural. But currently, it seems like in the world, most folks, just get swept up in their thoughts more often than not. Myself definitely included. But we do have the ability to recognize the thought stream and kind of step out of it or step back for a moment and witness, and then become more of a conscious contributor or a conscious selector of how we would like to participate. And a lot of times it's only when we get to the darker, heavier, uglier, funkier shit, it's not until we get there that this ability to separate or detach from the narrative reality becomes possible. And I mean, it makes sense too, right? If my thoughts are all happy and cool and awesome and wonderful, then I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to cruise and and be on that show, right? Be on that narrative stream. But for some of us, things get less fun and ugly and painful and torturous. And that sucks, but it also feels like it's almost the necessary state to facilitate an awakening of presence. Like most people don't wake up to themselves out of joy, right? You're just joy. It's cool. Right? A lot of us, though, wake up to ourselves, to our presence, to our being, out of tremendous suffering. Also, though, that doesn't mean we always have to go seeking suffering. Yeah, that feels like an important note to make. Because I've done that too. Oh, suffering will wake me up. Suffering is the fuel for my growth and ascendance. Let me go just fling myself into shitty suffering situations. And yeah, that's that's some other bullshit. Yeah. Life will bring us the ingredients we need when we're ripe and ready to receive and work with it. But some of us, definitely myself included, yeah, we try to get clever. We try to hack the process. And yeah, that's not trust. Right? That's not trusting life. Just a little side note there. Yeah, I like how this is unfolded. Acknowledging the funk, recognizing it, seeing how it manifests, seeing where the funkiness in the form of thoughts and feelings will push or pull us. And then we can go on the ride if we want to Funkytown. and and at some point the funkiness meter will will hit whatever the score or the points or the degrees necessary to pop us out of our trance. And here we are. It's cool, man. Not fun at all stages, but overall, yeah, cool. And so for me, here in this moment, yeah, there's a little bit more space, a little more presence, which allows for a little bit more trust. There's a remembering of, yeah, like life's been doing its thing for a minute now. I'm just a small, brief chapter in this huge story. And so life will keep on lifing, and I will be taken care of. And maybe things don't work out the way I think they should or the way I want them to, but they'll work out. And frequently in ways that are much cooler than I would have ever cooked up on my own. And as this remembrance settles in, yeah, I'm able to rest a little bit more in the presence, in the trust, in the grace. And then smaller steps in cool directions become much easier. And just like that, it's all good. Yep. And I didn't have to do much. Sure didn't have to do a whole bunch of crazy stuff that I cooked up in moments of pain or anguish. And now that I'm here, yeah, I also don't have to deal with cleaning up the mess or dealing with the consequences of some half-cooked relief-seeking scheme, right, that I might have ran with. But it sure is hard to weather a storm. And stay home. Yeah. All right. I think that might be it for this one. Yeah. This has been a cool little journey. I definitely didn't want to record an episode when I first clicked on the mic here, but I like how, yeah, sharing honestly with y'all and reflecting and pausing and breathing has helped, yeah, bring some of the sunshine back into the frame. And hopefully there's a couple nuggets here that you can relate to or that you can chew on or reflect on. Because I think if we're living even a little bit authentically or a little bit more authentically, right, if we're trying to really honor who and what we are and how we move in this world for the limited time opportunity that we have, we're going to encounter the whole spectrum of experience. And so there will be the highs and the lows and the in-betweens and the ups and the downs and the maybe so's and maybe nots, and like the whole spectrum's going to be here. And any part of it that we push back against or fight or resist or try to hide or deny or repress, we actually guarantee that it will continue to be a part of our experience in an increasingly more obvious way. Right? Like if we're pushing against something, we're trying to get rid of it, but we're actually giving it energy. If we're fighting against something, we might be trying to get rid of it, but we're also giving it our attention and our energy. And so the way to really allow less than great stuff to not hang out as much is to allow it. And then life will just keep moving and grooving the way it does. Stuff only sticks around if it sticks to us, or if we grab it, or if we engage it in some way. And so learning how to experience all the facets and dimensions and dynamics of this life trip with an increasing sense of appreciation, an increasing sense of presence, then we're in the flow. And then life will do what it does, and really we're not separate from life. It's just flow. And now I'm floating. There's less of me around in this moment. So maybe I'll just float away then. All right. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. You deserve it. Life ain't always easy, but if we can have a little bit more grace, a little bit more presence in the moments that are less fun or more challenging, we get to have more space for what else life has to offer. So give yourself that gift. See what else the mystery has for you. Alrighty. That's enough out of me. Love y'all. And I will see you a little further down the road.